Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello, welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, comedy, pop culture, social media, everything really, depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. My guest is an actor and a stand-up comedian, and his newest comedy special can be seen on Tubi. We're with Jamie Kennedy. Jamie, welcome to Popternative, man.
What's up, dude? Where are you at? Canada?
I'm in Canada. I'm in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Thank you for coming on Popternative, man.
Thank you for having me, bro. Now you've got me sitting up like I thought I was going to be able to sleep during this one.
No, absolutely. So right off the bat, I mentioned it. I mean, it's pretty exciting. There's a lot of different streaming platforms out there right now, and your new comedy special dropped on Tubi, which is really cool.
Yeah, Tubi is an awesome new streaming platform, and I have a lot of my other specials on there, all my old specials, actually, and then I have some movies on there, and it's like basically I tell everybody it's Netflix with commercials.
No, absolutely. It's really it's really cool. Does it blow your mind how many kind of streaming platforms and how much content that's out there right now? Like, it's pretty crazy.
Yes, but I don't think it's going to stop, and I think it's only going to get me more, and I think it's, especially with what's going on in the world, it's done. It's like everyone is just going to be consuming content every day.
Absolutely.
Every second.
So I kind of want to know, because, you know, people will know you from your films, and you've been in some TV shows as well, but people also know you from your stand-up comedy. When did you kind of decide that, like, performing and doing comedy was something you wanted to do for a living, Jamie?
I don't think you really ever have like a concrete day. It's just something where you do it, and you don't really do it. You have these feelings, and you're kind of going for it, and then you have these ideas. And then when I moved out to LA, and I'm like, I'm just gonna move to LA for a little while. I'm gonna try this out. I'm 18 years old, and let me see what that lies out. And then I just kind of started finding my way from there. I didn't even know I was gonna do comedy or anything. And then it's trial and error. But when I was about 15, I started getting the idea about it.
No, absolutely. Did you kind of, like, do you look back, and when you kind of started off, did you kind of expect that you were going to kind of wear the two hats and do kind of the movie things and the comedy stuff simultaneously? Or was that never kind of, did that never like fit it, like, was that never kind of something that sunk in?
I think I just was going to try to get it any way I can, you know what I mean? I'm like, a creative pansexual. Is that the term? Term? Pansexual, that like everything.
Was it difficult for you at one point where you were doing a lot of comedy? You had your own TV show, The Jamie Kennedy Experiment, and you were doing some movies, and was it kind of hard to balance everything? Because you're doing different mediums, right? You're doing your comedy, you're doing your movies. Was that kind of difficult, Jamie?
All different skill sets, like, like I was doing my show, which was like getting deep in makeup, and it's a hidden camera mixed with reality, and then comedy, and then, Malibu was like a movie, but it was comedy, so we had more takes. Writing a book, that's a narrative. Doing stand-up as yourself and your own personal stories. Doing cartoons is different. Usually go into the booth like this. So yeah, it sometimes gets hard to balance, but it's a great problem to have if it becomes a problem.
How important is it, though, in kind of the entertainment industry to wear many hats like you do with everything you do? I mean, sometimes people are not able to, but you were able to kind of wear many hats in your career.
For me, it's very important, because I have that in my soul. I'm a creative guy in terms of Gemini. I'm a good Gemini. I want to do a lot of things. I have a lot of interest. I'm very curious. And I'd like to pursue stuff. And it's also good because you have to be flexible. You have to pivot. There's very few just true, pure movie stars anymore. That's like the last thing. And even them are like, doing other jobs. Only very few. And I think I think the world is a different place now in the way we are. And you got to just grab it where you can get it. But, you want to do good stuff, obviously. But you got to wear many hats.
Absolutely. We'll get to the comedy, and I want to know more about that comedy special. But specifically, you know, I watched your TV show, The Jim Kennedy Experiment, but I feel like a lot of people got to know you with a lot of movies over the years. You know, like there's been a lot. The ones that come to mind right now, because I'm a big horror guy, obviously, is Scream 1 and Scream 2, because, you know, I love how the genre of horror has kind of evolved over the years. But you're kind of part of that wave of like mecha horror that I remember growing up. Scream was like the talk of the town. So what was that experience like?
That was incredible. I was very much fortunate to be in such a genre-bending movie, reinvigorating the genre. It's meta. It was young. It was funny. It balanced that scary and funny at the same time, and it was also just you know, I was just very fortunate to be a part of it, and it was just a great, like. It really laid a stamp. It's not just a great horror movie, it's just a great movie.
You know what I watched recently was Kicking It Old School. Funky Fresh Boys, FFB. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that one.
We shot that in Canada, outside of Vancouver, actually. So
that was a good and that cast. Like, you guys had a good cast for that movie.
Yeah, we did, man. We went in, and a lot of people that just wanted to work and laugh, and we did, and it was a fun movie, man. It was one of my passion projects.
You also have a little kind of role in Harold and Kumar, and I've always kind of, when I had an opportunity to talk to people like that who have kind of little cameos or parts in movies, I wanted to know, is there anything kind of funny about that kind of like guest star cameo in that film? Did someone call you up? Like, how did that like happen?
They just called my agent, and they're like, "Look, man, we're making this movie, and there's gonna be about 5 cameos. We want Jamie to be in one of them, and they were very generous to me, and and they said he can do whatever he wants, and we're gonna need him for a half a night, and he can just kind of, here's the script, but he can make up his own stuff." So I was like, "Where do I go?" So it was awesome to be a part of it.
And what was the mindset about your show, the Jim Kennedy Experiment? Like, what was that like? When did you kind of just wake up one day and says, "I want to make a show. I want to do pranks. I want to do that"? Like, how did that come to be?
That came because I always loved SNL. I always loved, stuff that was skits. I loved Mad TV. I loved alternative type of comedy. I loved like the Tom Green Show. I loved Jackass, and there was a show on MTV called Buzzkill. It was really great. And I was, getting parts in movies, and I was funny in the movies, but it wasn't like me. I wasn't writing them, and I wasn't, expressing myself. So I had this other side of me through stand-up. And so I decided, how can I do this? And so I started pitching that show around, and then WB was interested in it, and that's how it happened. But it was because I wanted to really go crazy in comedy.
Absolutely. What do you think, specifically stand-up comedy, Jamie? I mean, it's an industry that's been around for a long time, and I feel like in all facets of the entertainment industry, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to kind of assume they know everything about the life of a stand-up comedian, and they know how it kind of works, and they know everything, because you know how people are on social media these days, you know what I mean? Can you talk to me about some, on top of your head, like some misconceptions about the stand-up comedy landscape? Like, is it like... is there more improv than people think? Is it kind of like, are there less shows? Are there more shows? Like, talk to me about kind of, from your perspective, being in the industry for many years, being successful in the industry, what are some misconceptions about the stand-up comedy realm?
Yeah, I think like that's a good one. Like, well, what do you do when you get up there? You just wing it? Yeah, I just wing it for an hour. I mean... Yeah, you can do shows like that, but it's not going to be, possibly not going to be the greatest time for you, because sometimes your brain might not have it. And also, it's like if you have a really passionate stuff that you want to talk about, if you're passionate about these ideas, these bits, or these stories, you got to work them out. You got to hone them. You got to craft them. It's called craft. And so you try it and whittle it down and try it again. And so I think that's a misconception about how, comedy is just like, you just go up there and you wing it, or when people say like, yo, we just had a weird moment, you're going to put that in your act? No, it's not all about you. I have my other ideas I'd like to try. I think that one that I think that's the thing that it's like easy. You know what I mean? It's not that a lot of people think that, but you do see people like that. It's not. I mean, to be good at it is one thing. To be good at it at one time is, it's a good move. It's lucky, but to be consistent at it,
Yeah.
to make a living at it, to make a name in that, and to make an impact in it, that's a whole other ballgame. So
no.
It's a job.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I just feel like I always ask on my show about misconceptions because a lot of people, especially, TV and film, it's like, oh, I just saw this guy in this show and I love this show. And I've never seen him in anything else so there's no way he's been acting for like 15 years before he got his big break. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that stuff out there. Like, a lot of people just kind of assume it's...
Yeah, people assume a lot of stuff they don't really know.
Exactly. So you mentioned a lot of your old specials are available on Tubi, but this new one that recently dropped, what can people expect from it? And is it kind of different than your past, like, stand-up comedy? Or is it kind of similar to what people will expect with the Jamie Kennedy stand-up comedy?
Well, I think it's a little different. That's why I call it Stupid Smart. I mean, it's more evolved, more deeper Jamie Kennedy, but also a lot of fun. So it's like I poke fun of myself and talk about my life and my views on simple shit. And then so it's like stupid, but it's also like hip hop, like, yo, that's stupid, and then it goes into like more smarter stuff, and that's why I say smart, because it's like, yo, it's so smart, it's stupid. You heard that? So it's the next one will be like, more smart. You know what I mean? But this one is more like Jamie Kennedy, and then a departure and diving into a new part of Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
There's a lot of stand-up comedians that have been in movies and film, but one thing I've kind of noticed is they don't do a lot of bits about their film and their film career or their TV career. Is that kind of on purpose, where they want to separate the stand-up comedy and the film TV stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you just don't want to ride off of that pony. I do a little bit of it where I make fun of myself just to ingratiate myself to the audience. But, yeah, you want to be known when you're doing stand-up for your stand-up and what that is, and that's your point of view and your voice and your ideas, not just that you were, in Rugrats movie and, what that was like. You know what I mean? But sometimes people want you to do that, so you kind of have to like give them a little bit of that and then wean them off of that.
So I find this is fun. I'm excited. I want to do a little bit of like a speed round here where I'm going to ask you kind of a question about a project you've done, and at the top of your head, think of something that comes to mind, like the project that comes to mind when I ask this question. So for example, longest day on set.
20 hours.
Was there a specific project?
It was Romeo and Juliet. It was the only movie I ever heard of that shot 36 hours straight.
Funnest time you've ever had on set?
I mean, possibly Boiler Room, because it was like all my homies, and like we were in New York and we were getting like a paid vacation for 7 weeks, and we had this great script and this great director, but he was also like us. It was all young dudes, testosterone, being cocky, and that's what we did during the movie and then at night, and that was pretty a great bonding experience, I will say that.
Your first project you ever did where you had more than 2 lines?
California Dreams. That was the spin-off to Saved by the Bell.
A project that you did that came out that looked a lot different than you thought it was going to look when you shot it.
You mean the actual turnout of...
Yeah, like you went in, you did your scenes, right? And then like you watched it, you're like, oh wow, it didn't feel like it looked like that.
As Good as It Gets was originally called Old Friends, and I had like 4 scenes in that, and I got cut down to 1 line. And a couple of my scenes were with Jack Nicholson. I still got to get the tape. But I knew that could happen.
Yeah, for
Son
sure.
of the Mask was different, much longer, slower. Like there was a lot of there was like a lot of cool stuff in that movie, and then that was not what we put out. But it wasn't our choice.
So you are a professional stand-up comedian, but I'm actually known, I'm a little bit of a dad joke connoisseur, Jamie. I have the dad jokes on demand.
Mm-hmm. Are you a dad?
I'm not, but I have the jokes. So it's an interesting, like, it's just interesting. I mean, I once, worked at a shoe factory, Jamie, but I quit because it was soul destroying.
Okay, got yourself one.
And why shouldn't you trust stairs? They're always up to something.
Okay, how old are you now?
I'm too old to be telling you these jokes on my podcast right now.
I think you're too young to be telling me these jokes.
Yeah, well, I'm almost 30, and I feel like that's pretty young. So I'm pretty old.
Very
So
young. You're doing jokes. Do you wear Dockers?
no, I don't.
Do you have penny loafers?
No, I don't. I have I don't know. I just thought of it because every time I tell these jokes to people, they enjoy them. I was hoping you would too.
Do you tell them to babies?
No, I don't.
Tell them to your mom? Did your mom think
My parents enjoy them. Yeah.
they're like, oh, your mom? Your parents are real cute then. They're like stuff they wouldn't.
They support me no matter what, right? They say. Absolutely.
You're the greatest joke teller. Those are cute jokes, but they're cute. They're not. You
No, for sure.
Did you make them up?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. It's a street joke.
It's a street joke, absolutely,
Okay.
for sure. But Jamie, thank you so much for coming on Popternative to chat. I really appreciate it, man.
That's it. Okay, I put a filter on this because there's a lot going on. But come on, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
No, it's. I mean, I kind of. There's a lot of podcasts out there that are like really long. They're like an hour. They're 2 hours, and I feel like I look at the guests like you. It's like, what can you even say for an hour and a half? It's like a movie.
Yeah, 2 movies.
That's like 2 movies. But no, I've been following your career for a while, and it's amazing that you were able to come on my show, and I'm a big fan of a lot of your work. Malibu's Most Wanted. I love that movie. I can watch that movie over and over, right? It's a good one. It's funny. There's some funny things in that movie. And obviously Max Keeble's big move. You are not a nice guy. You are the evil. Was that fun to shoot? That looked like it was a fun movie.
Oh yeah, that was my buddy who produced it, and he like got me the role. He was like, "You want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah." It was 10 days, and it was me, and all these like young kids that became stars, and it was great. I got to be, I was hung off a crane and covered in ice cream, and it was great.
Absolutely. So people could check out the new comedy special on Tubi right now.
Mm-hmm. They can go to Tubi streaming service, search Stupid Smart STOOPID, and I'll pop up. Seriously, they'll put a filter on this, bro.
And where could you where could they follow you on social media?
Jamie Kennedy on Twitter, the Jamie Kennedy on Instagram, Jamie Kennedy on Facebook. I thought you were gonna hit me with this joke.
Which joke?
Well, come on, dude. Why is 6 afraid of 7?
Because 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna do that since you're doing a dad. That's not even a dad.
All right, come on. All right, I shouldn't even. I might not even. They might not even see the jokes. I might take them out. I might cut them out. I'll put a filter, and then I gotta take those out. You know what I mean?
Put a mask on me.
Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. And be sure to check out Jamie Kennedy's new stand-up comedy special and his old ones as well on Tubi, the new streaming service. Until next time, this is Jamie Kennedy and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.